about the only thing.
We are at 40 fucking minutes of this whack ass episode. Nothing happened. Nothing's going to happen. What the fuck? Is this shit on until 10:30? It's on until 10:30. Okay, something better fucking happen. Cause this shit getting me. I'm getting all my this shit. Fuck. I can't even fucking talk. What's going on, world? And we'll see from AK Nation TV, the network, the one channel on YouTube where we actually adopt similar connections despite our differences. And I'm here to give y'all a story time video. Shout out to Sky Santana, because he actually hit me up and was like, bruh, you really should do story time videos. They're very popular and they definitely get people moving and motivated to discuss various topics in life related situations. And he's like, you know, when you used to do bathtub confessionals, you used to really go all in, and those could be considered storytime videos. Well, Mr. Sky, shout out to you, which, by the way, you are doing a phenomenal job. You have created a very supportive fan base for yourself, and I am completely enthusiastic at the fact that you love my show and you've gravitated a lot towards what I've done. So I definitely appreciate you, and kudos and congrats for everything that you've accomplished thus far. And you are a superstar, and you're going to continue moving up to the clouds. Okay, so this particular video that I want to talk about is entitled Love Doesn't Live Here Anymore. And it's in regards to way back when I was, you know, very young and I always wanted to find love. I always wanted to be loved. I was an individual that strived to be accepted by my family, by my peers, especially my parents. And because I did not grow up in a family-oriented situation or household, I always sought love that was absent-minded from my family, from my friends, and or lovers. And so when I was 20, turning to 21, I met this man named James. He was phenomenal. He was everything I wanted him to be. We kind of like met online, right? Back in the day when I think it was Black Gay Chat or something like that. Black Planet existed. I think MySpace was out at that particular time, but I think I was dealing with my Dreamcast, and Dreamcast was able to go online, and I had the dial-up, and for whatever reason, however we were able to make it work, we connected online. That's when I used to do like fake profiles and shit like that, and I used to like really try to get dudes out of their comfort zone by impersonating female profiles and shit like that. I was a mess back in the day. I really was. But I found James and he found me. And I have to sneeze. Excuse me. And so in finding each other, even myself at this young age, he was 26 at the time. I was like 20, turning 21. I think it was 26, 27, something along them lines. He was older than me. And I had my own place. I was in my own apartment at 19 going on 20. Yeah, I was in my own apartment since I was 17. But I was on my own, you know, doing my own thing, and we had discovered each other, and, you know, we would play with each other, and I can't remember how we would send pictures back and forth. I couldn't remember that, but we were playing with each other or whatever, and, you know, phone conversations led to intense conversations, led to sexual conversations, led to you need to come up and visit me, led to okay, I most certainly will. And when I went up there, you know, to visit him, up north, it was lovely. It was insane. passion. It was excitement. Me at a young age meeting a man that had everything, had a great place, a living space. Like when I walked in there, I was like walking into a 4-star hotel, had a car, had a job, had money, had everything, was so clean, well groomed and sexy, and had that daddy sense about him, that daddy exterior. And I was just like, I was young and didn't really know what the hell bottom and top was or whatever. I just knew that I loved a manly, masculine type of person and someone I could call daddy. You know what I'm saying? So it was really interesting, me at that particular time, as I look back, me wanting to be in love and wanting to find love. And so we had that. I ended up moving from my state to his state and uprooted my whole entire world to move to his world. Now, when I did that, I didn't have a job, and I was so caught up in rapture with the concept of love that I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna just do it and we're gonna live forever. Not knowing what life was like outside of that LOVE word. You have to have a job in a relationship. You have to be able to provide for yourself in a relationship. You have to have self in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You have to have your own identity, your own world, your own friends, your own everything, and dealing with a relationship, especially if you're going to move in with someone. And that I did not have. So I gave up all of my world to move in with him. And it didn't work out. When I was in love, I found myself requiring certain things that I wasn't getting. And I never cheated on any of my relationships, but I had feelings towards wanting to be with someone else because I wasn't happy in the situation that I was in with James. And so it was very difficult accepting that, because I uprooted my entire world and I went into his. But that was the problem. I should have never done that, right? But when I tell you I was crushed because I had asked him to not do one simple thing. And I came from a household where I was just like, always like hand-me-downs. Oh, okay, we did this for you, we did that for you, blah, blah. Family always doing for us, and us feeling like it wasn't because they were our family, but because they felt that they had to. And, I always prided myself as being a Leo and not wanting anyone to do anything for me. So when I left my world that I established for myself at a young age, when I moved out of my family's realm of things, and I left that world and I end up going to James's world, I said, I love you and this is us and I want us to be together, but there's one thing that I never want you to do. And that's to pull the wool over my eyes and tell me I did this and I did that and you should have did this and da da da. Don't make me feel codependent when I was always independent as my own man, So we got into an argument, and I never, till this day, I never really understand why people argue, especially if they're in relationships. But we got into an argument. Well, he got into an argument with me, right? And, because I wasn't giving any feedback, he said, went in and started saying what he did and how he did that and, how I'm codependent and so forth and so on. And that crushed me. I was like, yeah, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so hurt by that. I'm like, why did you do that when I asked you not to do that? And so, long story short, I said, fuck you. I ended up moving. And I ended up moving back. Then I ended up moving back to Connecticut, where I'm from. Then I ended up moving back to Massachusetts, where we were. Only to then move to New York, where I was chasing a dream. And so, in moving back to New York, I discovered another brother, Ken. It was one of those situations where it was like love at first sight, right? I had experienced what I experienced in my first love. It didn't work out. I was drastically hurt by him. We reconnected afterwards, but it just never felt the same, right? I think our relationship ended up becoming him just being my head doctor and me loving it, because we went from me being the bottom to him being the top to me turning his ass out because, you know, Curtis does that to people. So, you know, we didn't have any bad blood, but I was really hurt by that love concept that just went sour. So I had vowed to myself never to move into another person's world. So when I met Ken, it was love at first sight. I had my own shit, independent Leo, and Ken kind of like transitioned into my world. So it was different for me, you know? I was definitely the top in the situation. Curtis is a G. Shout out to my John. And that first night, once again, we met offline, and it was just like kinetic. Like we were talking, and we didn't stop talking, and we didn't stop laughing, and we didn't stop loving, and we didn't stop kissing, and we didn't stop hugging. And it was so interesting that I met this dude, like, oh my God, like, okay, let's be together. Like, and it was like, in a matter of a couple weeks, we were like together. We were an item. That particular situation didn't really work out too well. Like, we were together for over 2.5 years, 2.5 years or whatever. And long story short, he switched roles with me. Like, he was in the position I was in with James, where he left his world and moved into mine. And I was the provider and had to assist him in finding his world. Or I don't know where I left off. And so, yeah, our roles were reversed, and now he was living in my world and I had to provide for him. And so that became difficult for him. You know, I was the one getting him jobs and he was the one losing the jobs. And that's when the lying started, and he started to lie about why he was losing the jobs and what really was happening. And you know, reports would come back to me like, oh, he's doing this and he's doing that, and, you know, don't trust him. But I was in love. Like, how are you going to tell me how to feel when I'm in love with this person? And so I don't trust you, but I'm going to trust him. Well, I swear this played out like a movie, and I should definitely write a book. But I was walking home one day, and I was in New York, Queens, Jamaica, walking home, and you know when you feel somebody behind you, you feel a presence behind you. I felt a presence, and that figure decided to walk up on my right-hand side and verbally reach out to me and say, "Are you Wes?" And I'm caught off guard. You're a stranger. Why the fuck are you asking me what's my name and who am I or whatever on the street? Like, I'm walking home. Who the fuck are you? Yeah. What's up? Oh, you know Ken? Yeah. What's up? Like, the fuck is the problem? You know what I'm saying? This is before this is before I encountered my defense kind of personality that I have now. And so I wasn't like a punk, but I really wasn't, like, how can I say this? I was inquiring, but I didn't really give two fucks. Let me just say that. I was inquiring, but it wasn't like, who are you and why are you asking me questions? You know, nowadays you walk up to somebody like that, you liable to get. Anyways, so yeah, he's like, oh, you know Ken? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's my boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, really? Okay, he living in my house though. You know what I'm saying? And then who comes around the corner, y'all? But Ken. And so when he comes around the corner, he's asking the dude, like, what are you doing? And the guy's like, oh, really? What am I doing? What are you doing? And so when I tell you it played out like freaking Cardi B and the producer and that young chick that's about to be on Love and Hip Hop. That's how it played out. Although I was very calm and poised because I was walking back home because I had a key to my place. You know what I'm saying? Ken had to figure out where he was going to go and how he was going to live there and what he was going to do. You know what I'm saying? But I let this boy that walked up to me express himself. But it really wasn't that deep because I'm going home. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're out here walking around in the shadows. I'm going home. So, long story short, I was so in love with Ken that I allowed for that type of behavior to be okay because I stayed with him. And I stayed with him because I was in love. And I stayed with him because this was a first time experience for me and dealing with someone cheating on me for a year and a half and a 2-year relationship, or a year and a 2-year relationship, whatever. But it all was adding up. Like, I always saw the signs, and it was like, okay, I see the signs. I'm just not connecting the dots. Long story short, he ended up, because he was cheating and he was doing all these extracurricular activities, as of which today I still don't know to the full extent of what really was going on. He ended up having the virus, and we, got tested, and I was like, okay, if you're cheating, blah, blah, let's get tested or whatever. So he ended up having the virus, and I still wanted to stay with him. I don't know why, but, I was in love, and I still wanted to stay with him. And, it took a lot out of me to really muster up the courage to even do that, but I did. It didn't work out because he ended up becoming very angry about the situation, and I didn't show any remorse because it's not my fault. Like, I didn't do anything to you. You were the one that went out and cheated. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't work out between the two of us because it just wasn't going to. He was really, really angry. And probably embarrassed. I don't know. Even after we broke up, we never really had a full conversation with each other. He has definitely moved on. He's definitely successful. He's definitely in a great relationship. So it's portrayed on Instagram, and they got the dog, and I don't know how their life is, but I'm completely excited about him being in a positive state in life. I always wonder how he truly is, and so I'm happy to see him happy. And so we moved past that, right? And I meet people in between James and Ken, and I end up moving to Florida. I end up moving to Florida because I wanted something different, and I didn't want to move home. I had lost my job, and financially was unable to provide for myself in New York. So I was like, go home to Connecticut, be with family that is really like not really traditional family, or move to Florida, do something different, get out of the snow, stop dealing with the cold, move to the heat. Let's make it work, okay? And so that's what I end up doing. When I end up moving to Florida is when I discovered things about myself that people have already discovered within themselves. Situations like people, he said, she said shit, and frivolous, like gay shit, is when I moved to Florida. That's when I discovered gay shit. Okay? I met a man that was so hot to me. I met a man that I was completely attracted to and thought we connected because we were from the same worlds in our own way, okay? And so in meeting him, I just wanted to like be with him. I just wanted us to be together. I was always caught in this world of wanting to be in love and wanting to find love and thinking that love is what I needed and thinking that love was all that I needed. And so I always found myself chasing these relationships or trying to be with these individuals because ultimately I felt like I didn't know myself. Let's just say that situation didn't work out, okay? And so we move to the most recent situation that has me making this video, that has me realizing that love that's defined by the world is not a love that I want created for myself or any type of relationship that I decide to be in. And I find myself being ostracized and isolated from my peers with their minds and how they think about the way two should connect emotionally, physically, spiritually, and socially, and this last dude rocked my world so bad in the sense that he really got me thinking how fucked up and twisted people could be and people are. Especially when you hold on to someone's heart, you realize that you have that person's heart and you decide to go like this. You know what I'm saying? And when I tell y'all that I became violent in my thoughts. Oh Lord Jesus, I became violent in my thoughts. I promise you I did. So far worse than I've ever in my entire adult life. And so I was let down, I was betrayed, and I was hurt emotionally and mentally by this one person because I felt that we connected on a level that super surpassed any other relationship, any other human connection that I had with someone else. I felt that this one particular connection was so strong and bonding that it would never break. I was wrong. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the person did not want to be in a relationship with me because he was interested in someone else. Fine. Okay? No problem. But it got me to thinking, what the fuck is love? Why do people want love? Why do people search for it? Why do people yearn for it? And I'm going to tell you, love is a beautiful thing. The emotions, the positive emotions that you get from it are spectacular, But I'm a forward thinker. I'm a leader in so many ways, okay? Especially with self-expression and how I give myself to the public. I'm not a follower by no means. And so with that being said, I have my own way of thinking about how a relationship should go. There are so many relationships that I see around me that are failed attempts, that are for show, that are abysmal, that are laughable. But people are in these relationships because they feel that they should be in a relationship at a certain age, at a certain point in their life, for social standing, so that people can be like, oh, they look cute together, for whatever particular reason. You know what I'm saying? And I, for one, have realized after this last fucked up person that love is not what I strive for in life. At least not with someone else. What I strive for in life is self-preservation, self-love, self-understanding, self-support. Because there are so many people that you have the opportunity to meet in this world, and there are so many different connections that you're going to have with someone that falling for or crying over or being hurt by one soul, one human on the face of this earth is just not worth it. So I asked myself, why do I continue, or why should I continue to fall victim or be trapped in a situation that I'm not content with? And that boils over to the rules of relationships and the reason why people think that we should do this versus doing that. Because everyone else does it. I'm not everyone else. And my definition of love is all inward. What am I able to feel within myself so that I can give it off to someone else? If I choose to. Because not everyone deserves what you give for yourself. Not everyone deserves the appreciation, the respect, and the satisfaction that you give to yourself. The word X is ever prevalent and defined on a day-to-day basis. And it's that word X that reminds you that people will not last. People shall not last. And then that forwards over to the word next. I will never be in a situation where I have one human being holding my heart hostage and making me feel like I'm lower than shit, and that I can't amount to anything, and that I'm a bad person, and that I feel terrible when they leave me or they don't want to be with me, and they tell me to my face that they like me, but then they go behind my back and cheat on me or some shit like that. I will never be that victim that calls my best friend up and cries over the phone because someone has hurt my heart. I will never be that person that lies to my face and does extracurricular shit behind my back, and I'm the one sulking because I feel betrayed. I will never be that person again, because no one should ever have your heart that way. Because there are so many people out there in the world that deserve a good heart that you have. And I feel that I am that same way. I think that way now. And so now I'm talking to someone. And it's unfortunate for them in a sense because they're not going to get the Wesley from the past. At least not the way that I've always given myself. And so, you know, a lot of people ask me, are you able to be in a relationship? Are you that jaded? Do you feel that hurt and betrayed from the past that now the person in your present is not going to get to see who you are 100% truly? No, that person, the change is that person is going to see me right out the motherfucking gate. That person is going to know me right out the motherfucking gate. There's no more, let me wait 3 months, let me wait 6 months. No. The only thing that I'm waiting on now is calling someone my boyfriend, calling someone my lover, calling someone my first and only. That is what I'm waiting on right now. You know why? Because I feel that in every situation in the past, I've jumped at the situation of being in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship without even really getting to know the person and not really knowing myself. But trust and believe, I know myself now. Okay, and I'm very confident and strong-willed and loving and appreciative of the person that I've become through all of the experiences that I've had in life, even the fucked up experiences that I've had here in Orlando. The new person that is in my life now is seeing me. And for that, I'm thankful. I'm excited. Because you know why? If this person gets to know me and sees me for who I am, and they decide that I am not the one for them, you'll learn that shit out right away. There's no, oh, you know, let's wait till the first honeymoon or the third honeymoon for you to say that this is really not going to work. Okay. Not far removed. I can't allow myself to feel that way again. I won't allow myself to feel that way again. You know why? Because the word X exists. And then going forward, the word next rears its beautiful head. No one in this world shall hold your heart hostage. You should be able to freely express yourself and love how you want to love. But if something changes in a relationship or someone says, no, this is not it for me, or someone cheats or whatever, do not allow that person to hold your heart hostage because it is never that fucking deep. There are too many people in this world that can bless you. There are too many people in this world that can be blessed by you. Okay? So I say all of this because I know of quite a few individuals that get hurt by others or have been hurt by others. You know, I always sit back and I realize, you know, all of the discussions that people have had with me, all of the advice that people have given me, and it's like now I've soaked all that up like a sponge. And I look at these people and I expect them to practice what they preach. And it's so crazy to me how love or the concept of love or heartfelt emotions can really handicap a motherfucker from moving forward in life and progressing and elevating themselves. And I promise you that if you are that type of person, you will never see your true potential in life. That if you allow for those types of emotions to bring you down, to be an anchor to you on this earth, that it will not serve you any purpose of positivity whatsoever. You have to feel free. You have to let your mind be willing to accept that this person may love you for all of eternity and this person may not. Be strong in understanding that things happen. Be strong in understanding that people are people. People change. And you know, my final message throughout this whole entire video, getting you guys to understand my story and understand a little bit of where I come from and my sense of well-being in my head, mentally speaking, right? I feel, how can I say this? I feel that every experience that you go through teaches you about yourself. Age is nothing but a number, but it's a definitive suggestion or hint as to you going through a lot in life or you having been through a lot in life. You know, the number of years that you've been on earth does play a part into the person that you are or the person that you end up being. But do know this, that every year you change, every day you change, every minute, every second, something could affect you in life to where your mind will open up. Never let love trap you, though. Never let love trap your mind or your heart, your body or your spirit, because no one man is worth the depreciation of who you are and who you make yourself to be based on experiences that you've gone through. I'm Wesley from AK Nation TV, the network. Please leave your comments below the video and let me know what you think about this My Story video. Should I do more? Do you guys want to hear more? Do you guys have any questions? Leave them right below the comments, in the comments. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting AK Nation TV over the years. And let's get to 100,000 subscribers. Alright? Deuces. Explain to the people that weren't able to understand your history with your sister, if you can give us a little brief synopsis of how you came to meet and how that all worked out for the show.
Okay, yeah, I met Asia when I was about 15. I was about to turn 16.
I was trying to hurry. I didn't know nothing. All I did was I came. I didn't want to do nothing. I was so hungover. I cared. There was everything else. Right. I didn't